Greetings everybody, Redbeard here for the December 7th, 2016 edition of the Midweek Update. If you watched TLC this past weekend, you probably saw the end of the Carmella and Nikki Bella match. I'd like to note that's probably the first time in WWE history where a match is concluded by someone taking a full load from a fire extinguisher to the ass. Yeah. Number 5 story of the week is the possibility of WWE NXT going live in 2017. This kind of joins a growing movement amongst WWE programming and taking the show live. As you know, WWE at present records several weeks of NXT programming at one point in time at Full Sail University there, marvelous facility that they've got. None of that would change technically in terms of location. However, the schedule for shooting would. It would move them from that sort of periodic or sporadic taping schedule to where they would literally be in there once a week taping NXT. Could also mean possibly maybe get some events they might have some place outside of Full Sail, maybe could tape some stuff there as well. We don't really know what the entire gamut of this is going to potentially be in terms of the ramifications. It's something that's apparently just being talked about. It is a good idea in my opinion. It's got some logistical hurdles that they'll have to overcome, but wrestling live versus wrestling taped is often much better in my opinion. It's one of those things to where the performers just sort of innately realize, hey, I've got one shot to do this. I don't get a second take. I can't come back out here and do this again. So it sort of it spurs them on to doing the best they can in the moment. And let's really face it, wrestling is all about capturing things in the moment. And it's not like movies. It's not like TV shows where you can do things again and again and sort of rekindle that same emotion and spirit, especially now when you're talking about a performance in front of a live crowd, because then they've seen it once. And you come around and do it again, and it's like, oh, well, they screwed up the first time. We've already seen this once. Move on, whatever. It's something that I've seen before. I will go ahead and say there was a SmackDown taping a long time ago. This has been 10 plus years ago. That was in Florence, South Carolina. And there was a situation that involved Mark Henry and Kurt Angle. And something happened that didn't go right. They did it once, they came out, they did it again, and people were like, what's going on? So, it's just one of those things. Live wrestling is always awesome. So, hopefully, it'll happen in 2017, but if not, guess what? NXT is still going to be one of the best things going. Number 4 story of the week is that Jerry Lawler and Lita have been removed from the pre-show broadcasts. This is kind of an evolving story. Not quite sure what's going on here. But it's been a change that happened sort of overnight. It's been seen here the past couple of days. Of course, we've had the TLC pay-per-view and a few other shows since then that would have had a pre-show that associated at one point in time with Lawler and Lita, but they weren't on any of those shows this past couple of days. It's now been kind of revealed that, for some reason, Lawler's contract has been converted from an on-air talent to that of a legend. It had been somewhat reported that the same had been held over for Lita. However, Jim Ross has tweeted since then that he's spoken to Lita, and she's saying she's no longer involved with the company, period. So that's a big change there, because she was under, as we describe, a Legends contract at one point, came on air, started doing that type of work, and now, if this information we've just sort of gotten here in the last couple of hours to be believed, she's no longer with the company, period. Does that really mean anything for her? No, not really, other than the fact that she's probably got some freedoms that she didn't have previously. But be that as it may, people are somewhat surprised by this because Lawler, Lawler's had a number of things that have been to his detriment here in the past couple of months. He had a domestic violence charge that was dismissed here a couple of months ago. Seemingly ever since he had his heart attack, there's been one thing after another that has led to them sort of distancing themselves from Lawler as a personality, as someone that they use in an on-air capacity. And it's kind of unfortunate because Lawler's always been entertaining in my eyes. He's always been sort of a goofball. That's been his role. He's been the color commentator, and he's flip-flopped from being a heel to kind of a middle of the road type of guy there as well. So if we see Lawler back at some capacity, I wouldn't be surprised. Lita, based on this news, it's kind of anybody's guess. I think she had done a pretty good job as far as this role. She had been a member of the WWE Tough Enough coaching staff there for a season here a number of years ago. and did well then. Seemed to be doing well in this capacity. Of course, she's still got, in my opinion, a lot to offer because she's still relatively young, still got a great look, and obviously has been involved in business for a good long while here. So it's unfortunate if she was somewhat kicked to the curb unceremoniously, but it is what it is. This could be, though, I'll say, a sign of some retooling going on with the pre-shows. Some of the pre-shows have gotten to be really excessively long, in my opinion, which is why they've kind of cut them back from 30 minutes to 10 or 15 minutes. So that's one part of it there. But this changeover with staff, it could be, one of those deals to where it's kind of trimming the fat, for lack of a better phrase. But here again, we'll have to wait and see what the full ramifications of this are and where they go with the pre-shows in the future, because they're definitely going to be continuing to have these things. It's just, it's determining what actual form they come in. Number 3 story of the week is a very unfortunate set of circumstances we have to report on because of the fact that Colby Carino has been arrested on a number of drug charges. This was a story that broke over the weekend. It's something that is really hitting a lot of people pretty hard because Colby was, of course, and still is, a member of the Ugly Ducklings Trio, a group that's got a lot of attention around the Mid-Atlantic. If you see them anywhere, that you're going to have something that's really energetic and entertaining. And it's one of these things where they really were on a high note coming into the end of 2016, going into 2017. Colby himself had a lot of opportunities going on because not only with, of course, Steve Carino, his dad, having signed a deal with WWE to join their training staff, Colby himself had also been given an opportunity to go over and train as a young lion with the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo. That in and of itself is a tremendous opportunity. A guy like him, having the lineage he does, would have certainly been able to get opportunities that others might not have received. Of course, he's been a part of the Ring of Honor roster here for a long time. It's really disappointing, the whole circumstance, from just the fact that it involves who it does to the fact that it involves what it does. The police report stated that they found all kinds of drugs and paraphernalia in his home. I just really hope that he gets the help that he needs. It's one of these things to where wrestlers and entertainers, particularly someone like him, he's been wrestling for 7 years. He's only 20 years old, and he's been wrestling since his early teens. So you hate to think that his body has gotten to a point to where he almost has to rely on certain pharmacology to be able to get through his day. But regardless, we do hope that he gets the help that he needs. This might be a wake-up call for him. Who knows, though? I'm hoping for the best, but it's just one of these deals to where it's unfortunate, and it's going to have some ramifications for a lot of people, not just Colby. This is going to affect Rob Killjoy. This is going to affect Lance Lou. This is going to affect Mickey Gallino. It's just one of those things. We'll have to see what goes on here in the future. But at least for now, it's a wait-and-see prospect for him to go through the legal process and see what comes next for Colby Carino. Number 2 story of the week is a pair of stories out of the independent world. We'll start off first by talking about a new deal for the Young Bucks, and then we'll follow through on the second story, which is talking about the freedom of Matt Seidel. Yeah, kind of a combination of weird things there. But we'll start off, like we mentioned, with the Young Bucks here first. The talk here a couple of weeks ago had been that there were a number of talents on the Ring of Honor roster that WWE was very interested, or at least said to be very interested, in snatching up. The Young Bucks were among those at the top of the list. Adam Cole, a couple others are probably in there as well. The prospect, though, of the Young Bucks being a part of the WWE roster was a huge deal because they're one of the top talents on the independent scene who have never really even been seemingly all that interested in being part of the WWE roster. And in some ways that's surprising, in some ways it isn't. It's not surprising because of the fact that they do tremendous business on their own and they have all the freedom to do exactly what they want to do without the encumbrances that come with a WWE schedule, a WWE contract, the whole 9 yards there. So they seem to be happy where they are because the fact that they signed a brand new 2-year deal that will make them exclusive to Ring of Honor and PWG here in the United States, and of course in Japan to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a big deal. Here again, talking about 2 of the top prospects in the entire world as far as tag team wrestling is concerned. and probably independent wrestling as a whole. Will they ever come across to WWE? I think the possibility is there, but here again, it would have to, in my opinion, almost have them go through a process of devaluing themselves on the independent scene to get to that point, because what they're making now versus what they could be making, it might not be that much of a difference, especially when you consider the fact they likely have to go through developmental and they have to go through all those ramifications of being a part of the learning process of WWE. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them in the future, but for now, they've got brand new deals that apparently are for a good bit of money, so good on them. Somebody who's having kind of an alternative situation developing his career is that of Matt Seidel, who's been spending the past couple of months in a jail in Japan for the fact that he was caught with cannabis oil and some other type of stuff that was related to his, we'll say, what's a good way of putting it, his use of recreational pharmacology, particularly marijuana. Japan is not very well known for being lenient when it comes to people who get caught with this type of thing, and it's been revealed via some information on Xbox podcast. I forget the gentleman's name, but he had a reporter from Japan on that show in the past couple of days, and more or less revealed that it was something of a tip-off to the authorities there in Japan that Seidel had the stuff. So it's one of those things to where someone let them know, apparently, that he had something, and lo and behold, he did, and he got popped for it. Now, it's one of those things to where people will criticize a rat for being a rat, but at the same time, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. So regardless of what may have transpired leading up to it, Seidel still is responsible for the fact that he brought an illegal substance into a country that does not at all like people to do that type of thing. And that should be evidenced by the fact that the prosecutor in his case was going for one of two things in terms of a sentence. He either wanted him to have a 3-year probationary cycle or 18 years in jail. Yeah, 18 years. Yeah, that's a lot. But he has been freed. Seidel has been. He is expected to be on his way back to the United States shortly if he has not already gotten back to the United States. And going on from there probably and taking bookings for whatever shows he can get on to. I don't imagine he'll have too tough of a time because he's still a very talented guy. He's still got a lot of ability. We just hate, here again, to have a situation erupt because of someone's reliances on substances that aren't always accepted. So let's see where he goes in the future. And the number one story of the week is our reaction to WWE's TLC pay-per-view. Overall, this was a very enjoyable show. There was a lot to really, I'd say, watch again. There was a lot of moments in this that would lend itself to being a part of the good old-fashioned on-demand aspect there that you get from the WWE network. Some things that I've gone back and watched again, just some cool moments and whatnot that were in there. At the same time, there's a couple of questionable booking decisions here and there. It's one of these things where you almost have to accept it because of the fact that TLC, it is one of those sort of bump-in-the-road type pay-per-views to where there's not typically a whole lot that happens there in terms of long-range after effects, but at the same time, this one here seems to have served particularly well in sort of continuing a lot of storylines, main among them being, for example, the Intercontinental title picture to where you have Miz and Ziggler going back and forth over the Intercontinental title belt in the ladder match that some people didn't really appreciate all that much because of the fact that it wasn't as intense as they probably thought it could have been. I thought it was good. I thought there was a lot of high-risk areas in there where they could have had something go horribly wrong. Was it as slam jam beat 'em up as it could have been? No. Did it have to be? No. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Another big critical moment was the fact that James Ellsworth, of course, continues to be a part of the main event picture with the WWE World title, and it going back and forth between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. I think that Ellsworth is going to eventually peter out. I don't know when that will happen, but I think it's coming sooner rather than later. It's amazing to me still that he has an opportunity to be a part of a WWE product, but at the same time, it's been kind of cool because this guy didn't go developmental. He came straight from an independent scene that saw him get thrown into a match with Braun Strowman, and then from there on out, he just kind of became a joke that evolved into this recurring character, and he is where he is. He'll be in the history books forever. And I really don't know if they want to put a belt on him, but if it does wind up that he's successful in getting the world title, I think you kind of have to put the world title in the garbage almost after that point. But I'm joking, but you definitely have to devalue that title a little bit at that point in time. At least he is a wrestler and not somebody like David Arquette. But moving on from there in terms of discussing the rest of the pay-per-view, the Women's Championship match was entertaining. I was surprised that they decided to go with they went for Alexa Bliss. That's going to be something else to watch and see how she and Becky chase each other for this title. Becky Lynch, of course, referred to there, former champion. The roster, as far as the women's division on SmackDown is concerned, some people have called it a little bit thin, but I think that with the continued development of people like Nikki Bella, Carmella, Natalia, a few others that are on there, you'll see some good things coming around out of that division, I believe. The tag team championship match, it kind of went the way everybody expected in taking the belts off of Heath Slater and Rhino. I think realistically that on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton should have those belts forever, conceivably, until somebody else comes along and can justifiably dethrone them, because here again you're talking about two guys like Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton for crying out loud. And I think they're going to continue to prove that for a long while. The little finishing maneuver they developed there to where it's sort of Bray Wyatt handing off a victim into the RKO is pretty cool as well. So, like I mentioned, overall, very entertaining show. You have the chairs match there between Baron Corbin and Kalisto. I can't think of anything else that was on the show. That might have been everything, but regardless, very fun, I thought, and a lot of it was worth watching again. You had some entertaining moments on there, some stuff that really surprised me. So, if you haven't seen it already, definitely go out of your way to check that out on the WWE Network at some point in time. But in more pressing matters, we would like for you to also check out an event coming to you this weekend, as there are a lot of them. There are 14 events happening this weekend. It's the first weekend in December. A lot of companies, no doubt, are trying to get out there before people get into the whole hustle and bustle of Christmas time, while people still have some free schedules and whatnot, because getting into the later part of the month, you're going to have some real schedule mishaps, I can go ahead and tell you, in terms of people trying to get around and about to some of these shows. So I do want to take a moment to point out one show in particular. As we mentioned, there are 14. There's a lot over in Georgia this weekend, several here in the Carolinas, though, and one of those that we want to point out is the Christmas for Kids event that's happening up in Lawrence, South Carolina. This is being put on by the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office and also Battle Zone Wrestling. They're going to be having a big event there that's sort of the culmination of several years' worth of work. They've been doing this show for several years now, and I believe this might be the last one that they're going to do, as far as a coordinated effort between them and the Sheriff's Office. But regardless, it's a charity event. It's got a pretty stout lineup there of some of the guys that are regulars in Battle Zone, some cage matches, a women's match between Casey Carlisle and Savannah Evans, and I believe they've also got an appearance from Buff Bagwell and Santa Claus. Santa is going to come from the North Pole all the way down to Lawrence, South Carolina this Saturday night to make an appearance. So definitely go check that out if you have an opportunity. But let's go ahead and roll the rest of those posters. We'll come back in a moment and wrap up the show. there you have it, a rundown of the events that are coming your way this weekend. If you were a wrestler, a promoter, or in some way involved with a wrestling promotion, and you didn't see your poster in that part of the show, it's because we didn't know about it. We do our best to peruse social media to keep abreast of what's happening in this part of the world, but we do miss things. That said, if you would send in your information to us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, email, we got them all. They're all down there in the description as far as the links that you need to get in contact with us are concerned. But send us your information. We'll be glad to put it on here, on the Facebook page, wherever we can, because it's a big part of what we do here in Rasslin with Redbeard, promoting local talent and events in this part of the world. We do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoy the program, go ahead and click that like button. If you really like it, consider sharing and also subscribing to the channel. We got a lot of good things going on right now. A lot of good match videos that are out there. Even more coming hopefully in the next couple of weeks, as we hopefully will be able to get to a few shows before the end of the year. Appreciate you guys tuning in. See you next week.